Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me. My name is Sean Shaughnessy. I am a real estate entrepreneur. Hopefully you are as well. And today I want to talk about attitude. The attitude that you need to have to be a real estate entrepreneur, and frankly, the attitude that you need to have to be an entrepreneur of any type. The thought process or the skills that you need to have between the two temples that you have here to be any type of entrepreneur are similar. You just need to have different skill sets to pull off whatever type of endeavor that you happen to be involved in. But the one thing that I do want to drive home first and foremost is the fact that there is absolutely positively 100% zero security in a job. Now, let's talk about this for just a brief moment or two. Let's say that you are a white-collar worker. You make $75,000 a year. You push paper from tray A to tray B, and then when it gets to tray B, you hand it off to person number one. Seems like a good job. They pay you every 2 weeks. You get a nice salary. You get health care. You get a 401k. You know, life is good. You're making your mortgage. You know, you've got a couple of credit cards and a nice car. Everything seems to be going your way. That's not a bad thing. I don't want to take away the fact that, you know, 95% of Americans, that's the way that they live. And, you know, there must be, they must know something. There must be some benefit to having a lifestyle to that effect, but let's think about the actual security of that for a second. Is there security in that position? Well, if you happen to be a cost center, in other words, if you are not producing income for that company, there is somebody above you that when times get tough, they have a pencil in their hand. And they can either put a line under your name to keep you, or they can put a line through your name to put you in the unemployment line. And now here you are. If you're lucky, you're finding a new job within a month. If you are an old guy, a 46-year-old man like me that makes a considerable amount of money, the honest to goodness truth is that you're looking at 6 months to a year to find a job that is going to give you the type of income that you're used to getting. And of course, this is if you don't have the contacts ready and able to give you a position that will provide you with that income, and they have a position for you ready to go right there, right now. So is there actual security in that? Well, I would argue that the security really isn't there because you are placing your life in the hands of somebody else. Like I said, they can put a line under your name or they can put a line through your name. And for me, I'm not really a big fan of letting anybody control whether they put a line through my name. So, another thing that I want to talk about is risk. What is risk? Many people think that being an entrepreneur means that you are playing in the wild, wild west. And, you know, I guess for some entrepreneurs that would be the case. I'm not going to go into specifics as to what industries that might be, but I guess that would be the case in some respects, but for most seasoned entrepreneurs, risk is just simply a part of the day-to-day game, but it's not unbridled risk. It is risk that is well thought out. It is risk with a game plan. It is risk that is taken with a good degree of due diligence behind what you're trying to do. So in other words, you know when you walk into that meeting, when you play that ball game, you know that there is an opportunity for you to lose and maybe even lose big. But if you have done your due diligence and you know that there is a very good chance of winning, well, then you have done your homework, and then you are truly an entrepreneur that is done the things that you need to do to mitigate that risk and place yourself in a position to where you can win more often than you lose. One thing that is super important is planning, okay? You cannot be an entrepreneur without having a daily plan, without having a weekly plan, a monthly plan, a quarterly plan, even a yearly plan. I'm not a real big fan of going anywhere past a year because we start getting too abstract. But if you have your plans broken down as to what you're going to do today, next week, next month, for the next quarter, you are going to be in a position that 9 out of 10 people are just simply not going to be. Most people show up to the office and they have absolutely zero idea as to what they are going to do. But I want to stress that you do not want to get yourselves into a situation that we call paralysis by analysis. There are lots of people in the real estate world that are students of real estate. They have been around real estate for 5, 10 years. They can tell you all of the ins and outs of how to get financing. They can tell you how to flip a house. They can tell you how to estimate costs on a repair. They can tell you how to fill out a form to buy a house, but they've never actually bought a house. They've never flipped a house. They've never bought a 50-unit apartment building. They've never actually contacted a realtor to look something up on the MLS. They haven't done the things that you need to do to be successful. So they're students of real estate. They're not real estate entrepreneurs. And a lot of gurus, quite frankly, and we all know that in real estate there are more than a short supply of gurus out there that'll tell you exactly what you need to do in order to be successful. Okay? You need to make sure that you are doing the things on a day-to-day basis that actually make you a real estate entrepreneur and not a participant in the real estate game. Not a student of real estate, but an actual entrepreneur in the real estate game. So remember, there is no substitute to doing it. Most people give up at the 2-minute warning. Okay? And I keep a quote on my board, and I think it's particularly important that I read this off to you. I'm going to read it off to you right now. It says, "Success in any venture depends more on the will to jump than being concerned about what will happen if you fail." And there are lots of people that will go 50, 75% of the way towards a great deal, and then something will scare them off, and they'll say to themselves, "Oh, this is tough. I could lose my shirt. You know what? I don't trust my plans. I don't trust my partner. I don't trust my lender. I don't trust the real estate agent that found this property for me, or the wholesaler, or whatever. I'm just not going to go through with it." And, you know, that's natural. I understand that. But make sure that when you do start having those feelings pop up in between your temples, that you start thinking about what will happen if you fail. What is the worst thing that will happen if you fail? The worst thing that will happen if you fail is that you fail, you pick yourself up off the ground, you dust yourself off, and you try again. Bottom line, gang, that's what being an entrepreneur is about. That's what being successful in life is all about, is knowing that you are going to fail, and you are going to fail more often than, far more often, I should say, than you are going to be successful. As a matter of fact, you know, to use an overused cliche here, you know, to get into the Hall of Fame, you need to hit the ball 3 out of 10 times in order to get into the Hall of Fame. And you know, for most of us, if we were to say to ourselves, you know, I'm successful 30% of the time, we would think, well, gee, you know, your track record isn't so great. Well, fact of the matter is that 3 out of those 10 times might be home runs. Or it might be 2 doubles, or it might be a single, a double, and a triple. If that happens to be the case, you're ahead of the game. Congratulations. So, to run it down for you again, number 1, attitude. What is in between your temples is going to dictate how you think about the ball game. You want to make sure that you are taking on risk that is well thought out. Paralysis by analysis. Make sure that you are not a student of real estate, but you are truly an entrepreneur of real estate. And then finally, there is no substitute for being in the game. Like I said, be that real estate entrepreneur. Take that risk. If it's a well thought out risk and you know that the chances are that there's a good chance that you're going to end up winning, you know that the game is typically won in during the 2-minute warning, you know, you owe it to yourself to see if in fact you're going to win the game. So, with that, my name is Sean Shaughnessy. I am a real estate entrepreneur just like you. I wish you the best of luck with your investing, and I hope to talk with you again real soon. Take care.